Well, let's take you back to our top story. This basic education officials have expressed concerns of a service delivery protest which have disrupted the progress of matric exams in some areas. Ahmed Kajee is in Pretoria where the briefing took place a short while ago. Ahmed, good afternoon. I suppose one of the things certainly that has been top of mind or up in the discussions has been the issue of load shedding.
Very much so, Hugo. In fact, there's been various topics which has actually come through from the initial briefing that we had seen from the Department of Education. That brief taking place last week, they said that water shortages, load shedding were a few of the major concerns that came through from the department. Coming through, they said that they have tried to mitigate as much of that as possible, speaking very closely to protest action. But before I get into a bit more detail around that particular topic, let's just take a listen to exactly what the department had to say specifically around load shedding.
So 119 centres were affected by load shedding and 3 centres were affected by technical issues. And when I say technical issues, it simply means there may have been a problem with the computers that were used. There may have been a problem during the saving of the data. So those are technical and not related to the load shedding. In the case of IT, which is information technology, we had 2 centres that were affected by load shedding, but here again, all learners were able to write the exam. In total, the number of learners that were impacted in some way by load shedding was 3,956.
And Hugo, this is exactly what we are seeing from the Department of Education coming through, speaking about load shedding and how they have actually tried to mitigate those particular power cuts coming through across the country, mentioning those particular names as well. But the main point coming through today was around the fact that protest action saw more than 50 learners in the district actually not being able to write their exams as they just could not get access to the examination centre. There's been other instances where police needed to escort exam officials to the exam centres. So the Department of Education coming through, calling on communities to not use this matric examination to get their point across in terms of getting the demands that they want specifically around their communities. As much as service delivery is an important part of South African communities and South African society, the Department of Education calling on those particular communities to not use this as a time and as a place to voice their concerns in a way that is going to disrupt the examinations for these matriculants as well. And then also mentioning specific incidents as well, apart from the IT incidents, IT exams that we had seen due to load shedding, those exams being disrupted. There have been a few incidents where learners weren't able to write their exams completely. There were about 2 to 3 incidents where learners were not allowed to write the exam due to outstanding fees at their respective school. Another girl out in the Western Cape was not allowed to write her exam due to the fact that she was pregnant. The government Department of Education say they are working with those district officials to find out exactly what's the way forward in terms of those particular contingencies as well. And then the department still speaking towards those load shedding and water shortage issues, saying that they are working around that to ensure that in many ways they will be in some way or form mitigated on that front. And I guess the good news coming out from Eskom as well is that the suspension of load shedding, and one will just hope that it at least takes place and continues into the new week. So at least heading into that maths paper 2, the big one taking place on Monday, will come across with no hiccups in any way or form whatsoever. But the big message coming out today is to just calling on communities to ensure that those protests in no way or form subsequently then impact the examination progress coming out of this week, heading into the next few weeks, into the mid of December once those exams wrap up. Hugo.
Ahmed Kajee, appreciate your time. Now let's continue.